I love the look of semi-precious stones like turquoise, jade, and opals, but that's not what these are. However, they are from Mother Nature.
It's who I am, a little rare, some sour fare, and some mystery, putting it all together, doing what I do, doing what I do.
Hi, I'm Judi from JudiKins. My friends and I got together for lunch one day and we were eating all of this wonderful fruit. And my girlfriend Rosie picked up one of these pits and she said, I wonder how this would look as an earring. Well, we all got hysterical, but look at this beautiful bracelet that was made from this plum pit. Let me show you how I did that. First, when you're eating your fruit, some of the pits come out really clean and some of the pits come out with a lot of fibers on it. Well, I figured out a great way to clean those pits. You start out with a warm bowl of water and some automatic dishwashing detergent. You just dump your pits in the water with a spoonful of the dishwashing detergent. Now mix this up and let it sit for about 20 to 30 minutes. It's important to use automatic dishwashing detergent, the powdered kind, rather than the liquid soap because the automatic dishwashing detergent cleans the pits much better. Then, after it's been sitting for about 20 minutes, you want to rinse off your pits. So I just scoop them into a clean bowl of water and just rinse those off. And then I put them on a paper towel to let them dry. Now, it can sit to dry overnight, but I'm always in a hurry. So I just found that if you put it in an oven at about 300 degrees, they'll dry in about 15 minutes and you're ready to go. These are the pits that have come out of the oven. They're dry, they're clean, and I've let them cool for a couple of minutes. So now I want to drill a hole in it. Because I'm using this as a jewelry piece, that little hole is going to help so that I can string it onto a necklace or a bracelet. So let me show you how I drill the hole. I start out on a little block of wood, just so that I don't drill through my table. My drill bit's going to jump around because the shell of this pit is so hard, so I need to start it with a little divot. I have this little tool here that's called a pin vise. I kind of borrowed it from my husband's tool chest, but it might become mine a little bit later on. And turn it very carefully, and you can create a divot to start drilling. If you're really patient, you can actually use this to drill all the way through it, but I'm kind of impatient, so I want to use my little craft drill here. Because I'm using a piece of equipment, I want to make sure I put on my safety glasses, and I'm going to use a pair of needle nose pliers to hold on to my pit because I don't think I could hold on to it with my hand here. So right here in that little divot, I just start drilling, and all the way through that, you can see I have the little hole in my pit. Now my next step is to coat my pit with whatever color I decide to use. On this one, I want it to look kind of pearly, so I'm going to use the JudiKins embossing powder called Pastel, which has this beautiful pearlescent color. But before I add the color, I want to use a clear embossing powder from JudiKins called Amazing Glaze. The Amazing Glaze is a little bit thicker, and what it does is it fills in these ridges so that my pit is a little bit smoother when it's finished. So the first thing that I want to do is use some clear embossing ink. This is just a clear fluid that is a little bit sticky so that the embossing powder sticks to the pit. We use this for stamping on paper and things like that, but what's fun is you can actually stamp on other things as well. Now, I'm using this little skewer here to dip my seed into the powder. And with a heat tool, I'm just heating and melting that powder right onto the pit. I can see I need a second coating because I didn't get all the roughness out of there. Now, while that powder is hot, the next color of embossing powder sticks to that first layer. And this is what makes my pit look like a freshwater pearl. If I need to, I can add a second layer of the pastel just so that I make sure I've got a good coverage. I like to set this on the edge of something so that it can cool off before I handle it. This is what the pits look like after they've all been assembled into a bracelet. They look like freshwater pearls.
Watch it fall around me and shades plum and verdigris.
Now this necklace was made with the same plum pit, but it was colored with 2 different colors of embossing powder, and I strung it on this ribbon. So let me show you how I did that. I have a pit here that I've already started. I have 1 coat of the Amazing Glaze to kind of smooth it out, and I also started with JudiKins Metallic Bronze Embossing Powder. The metallic bronze is kind of fun because it's got a brown color to it and it matches those ribbons perfectly. The next color that I want to use is the Egyptian Gold. The Egyptian Gold is really pretty because it has sparkles in it. So I just thread my little skewer through my pit here, and you notice I have a little bit of tape wrapped around the skewer just so that it's a little thicker so my seed doesn't spin around. I want to heat this up so that my embossing powder sticks, because the embossing powder sticks to the Amazing Glaze. And I just dip that in and melt it right onto my pit. Now, how easy is that? It just takes a couple minutes to cool off, so you can set it on a little block or even on the top of your jar here, just for a minute or so to let it cool.
It's who I am, a little rare, some savoir-faire, and some mystery.
Now the next step is to thread the ribbon. I have 2 different types of ribbon here. I have this beautiful brown organza ribbon, which is a 1/2 inch, and I have this thin brown ribbon with the little black spots on it. Now this thicker organza ribbon looks like it won't fit through this teeny little hole that I have in my pit, but I made a little wire needle by taking a piece of wire and I folded it in half, and you just crimp it really tight to make sure that it's stuck on the end. And I did that on the other end of my thin ribbon. Now, what works out great is if I tie a little half knot here in one end of the ribbon. And I attach it to my clipboard here so everything stays secure while I'm threading the beads onto my ribbon. I put one end of the needle through the top hole, and I take the second ribbon and I run it in the opposite directions through that same hole. Then run the same thing through the second hole. This is like threading a button. Take the organza ribbon. It's nice because the organza ribbon is thin, so it fits perfectly with that little needle tool. And that's how I tie on my first bead. And then I tie an overhand knot right in the center and just move it up so that it's about a 1/2 inch from my seed. Now I continue threading the beads and tying those knots all the way down my ribbon, and when I'm finished, this is what my necklace looks like. I added a couple ribbon ends and some toggle clasps, and now my necklace is finished.
Doing what I do.
Now this is my plum pit that has the 2-tone color on it. Here is the other plum pit that looks like a freshwater pearl. We had to eat a lot of plums to get these necklaces together. For variety, can you believe this is a cherry pit? I embossed it with rocking red embossing powder, and look at how beautiful it looks. This is a cherimoya seed. Cherimoya is a Mexican fruit, and it comes with these beautiful seeds. And can you believe this is a peach pit? It looks like a granite stone. And the seed that started the whole idea is the lychee seed. This came from the lychee fruit. And doesn't it make a beautiful earring? Now, for the Pit de la Resistance. What do you think this is? It's a mango pit. Isn't that beautiful? My friend Rosie created all of the wire wrapping, and she used the Peacock Extreme embossing powder to make this pit look like an opal. It's absolutely gorgeous. Now, we were lucky because we were eating a lot of fruit during summer season, and we have a sign up in our office that says save the pits, because different seasons you don't have the same kind of fruit. So be sure to eat a lot of fruit, stay healthy, and save your pits.
To create this project yourself, download this week's design guide. You'll get step-by-step instructions along with special make-it-your-own bonus tips and ideas.